Hello everyone, this is part 21 of What If Naruto Had a Hug That Changed Everything, and I hope you guys enjoy this video and to like, to subscribe, to share, and check out the playlist, to see more comment down below. Now let's start the intro.
They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god.
Join my membership, the perks are great. It's in the description. Be sure to like and subscribe, it gives me more motivation. Enjoy. Naruto, her thoughts wandered in amazement. Temari, who was hiding within the sidelines, was just as amazed as Sakura. Where is this chakra coming from? I've never felt something like this before, she thought before turning a surprisingly worried glance to her mutated brother. Gaara. With his power temporarily anew, Naruto glared at his opponent readily. Quote. Let's begin. Without another word, Naruto charged at the snarling Gaara, who was a bit perplexed by what he was seeing and sensing. That, however, didn't stop him preparing a counter-attack, which was a simple horizontal sweep of his demonic arm. Seeing the attack coming with ease, the pumped-up genin vanished from sight and danger. Gaara had precisely 1 second to process what had happened before the human side of his face was viciously set in by a vengeful punch from Naruto. Screaming with pain as well as shock, the half-transformed genin was sent flying through the tree's trunk, much to everyone's astonishment. With a spark of rage igniting within him, Gaara's massive arm latched onto a nearby branch, extending it as he prepped to propel himself back at his gutsy prey. Doing just that, the bloodthirsty Jinchuriki roared with adversity as he flew right back at Naruto, who smiled knowingly. The blonde genin swiftly jumped over a death claw thrown by his enemy and fluently sprinted straight along his extended arm before following up with a mind-wrenching knee to the center Gaara's face. Reeling back in pain for only a short time, Gaara quickly recovered before using that same arm to ferociously back-sweep the airborne Naruto's body, gaining the sweet sound of his joints crackling before sending him soaring through the air, and several trees. Naruto, Sakura screamed as she remained by Sasuke's side. This, of course, was not the best time to compromise your position, as Gaara whipped his mouse glare to the source of the cry. Sakura flinched with terror when she saw the half-demon's eyes before staring down at the nearly CS-pled Sasuke. After a body-breaking trip through the air, Naruto finally collided with a tree, leaving a massive dent within it before falling face-first upon its branch, coughing and gasping for air. "Oh-h-h-h-o-o-o-s," he choked. Out of. You brain SC munch. Just because I'm giving you more of my chakra, that doesn't make you invincible. Take another hit like that and you're done. You hear me? Cooked. Fried. Finished. Gone. Oblivion IZED. Stop making words up and make yourself useful, god damn it. Out of. With that short-lived argument with the demon inside him, Naruto staggered to his feet with dimmed eyes. Broken ribs, he winced as held the sore area, oog. 6 of M. Grudgingly straightening himself out, Naruto composed every bit of will he had before redirecting the flow of his burning chakra to his broken, cringing with exceeding level of pain as he heard his bones crackling back in place. Gooerrrrrh, Naruto choked back a writhe. Suddenly he remembered that Sasuke and Sakura were in massive danger, so he ran to the edge of the branch and leapt off only for his left lower leg's ligaments to loosen, causing him an uncomfortable dislocation. Acting immediately, he snapped his limb back in place, trying his damnedest to ignore the agony and sped off to aid his comrades. Gaara launched himself at his helpless prey with a rekindled desire to finish Sasuke when all of a sudden, a scowling Sakura zipped right in front with a kunai ready. With unwavering determination and soul-crushing fear building in her heart, Sakura stood firm against this foe, ready and willing to rest for her friend, much to Gaara's maddening headache as memories of his hellish past invaded his mind once again. Deciding to remove this nuisance, Gaara reeled his demon arm to the side, fixing to brush Sakura away, when suddenly, Naruto materialized upon the half-demon's back with a kunai in hand. "Why you?" Gaara roared before his attacker viciously drove his kunai into the soft F of shoulder, the area where Sasuke was supposed to wound him, gushing a mess of blood. Because Gaara was still airborne, the sudden jolt of agony ruined his trajectory as he and Naruto lost altitude while soaring. With the blonde kitsune still latched upon his back, he mercilessly jabbed his kunai into his enemy's bloody wound over and over and over again, causing constant and continually louder screams of pain from the sand genin. Quickly approaching the ground, Naruto ceased his brutal assault and kicked both of his feet off of Gaara, propelling himself high into the air and plunged his enemy into the dirt. Predictably, Sakura was frozen in her position in front of Sasuke. She had been so shocked of what she was doing that her body completely shut down and began to tremble like mad, her eyes widened with a frightened shadow of what used to be her scowl. Behind her, Naruto swiftly landed upon another tree brush with his back turned to her. Sakura, he barked, catching her immediate attention before she whipped her body back to face him, accomplished the mission. What? She said before fully facing Naruto. Don't forget, we have our orders. Now take Sasuke and find a safe place to remain until things blow over, Naruto ordered sternly. Sasuke was finally able to at least lift himself to his elbows to stare at the blonde in amazement. He seems different. He's not even acting like himself. What's the deal? How was he able to do all of that? The Uchiha pondered to himself. But, what about you? Sakura asked in concern. Naruto stiffened and glared at the rising mass down below, revealing a hyperventilating Gaara. He had rose to his feet with a silver-saturated mouth and chin before. Suddenly, he gripped his devastating shoulder wound with his demon arm and howled with fury and pain, jerking his head left and right. Sakura wasn't deaf to the howls and stared at Naruto again. Naruto, what will you do? She pursued as she was growing increasingly worried with his silence. I'm staying, to fend him off, he solemnly responded. Sakura fought the urge to gasp in shock at what she had heard. Considering what that monster just did to Sasuke, she could hardly stand the thought of leaving Naruto here all by himself if she could help it. What do you mean? You can't fight that thing all by yourself, Sakura strongly protested. Naruto was silent as he watched the now crazed Gaara frantically search for his enemy with malicious rage and flaming bloodlust written all over his face. Fortunately for Team 7, he was far too insanitized to think straight as he continually yelled and whipped his vision in completely random directions. Somebody has to keep him from flushing you guys out. I'll fight him, till the end of the day if I have to, Naruto declared. With her thoughts of the disastrous results replaying in her head in many different and horrible ways, Sakura was suddenly in tears before her head jerked to the side, flinging them off of her face. She relished her stare. Bakano. You'll be ked, she yelled with conviction. At first, Naruto remained silent, giving the impression that he was considering that, then he turned his head to Sakura with a graceful smile on his face and gentle eyes filled with warmth and understanding. That doesn't matter. As long as I can keep you two safe from harm long enough for you to remain alive I can manage that, Naruto said with great sincerity. To say that Sakura was blown out of the water at this point would be an understatement. She frowned and clenched her teeth as she began tearing all over again and her voice became noticeably shaky. So what then? You want us to just leave you here to rot? To just run away and sit someplace safe while we let you Is that what you want? She yelled again, trying like hell not to break down and cry. Naruto never broke his gaze and his smile never sd. What can you gain from that? Answer me. How can you be so content with that? She continued, growing more and more distraught as her tears poured down her face at the thought what could befall Naruto. The black-clad boy's smile deepened, because both of you would live, he answered with pure ease. Sakura teeth clenched even harder. Before she could protest, Naruto turned his attention back down to still roaring and bloodshot-eyed Gaara. Tell me, how many times have we faced death and lived? He asked suddenly. Evident how this was not really an appropriate time, Sakura's face softened from her maddening stare into a genuinely subdued but still saddened look. How many times have I allowed one of you to get hurt because of my weakness? How many times have I bragged and boasted without anything to show for it? To declare my future status as Hokage and let one of you get hurt if I could help it, is unforgivable. I promise that I'll never let anything happen to you again. Unless before I do, he said with full truth behind his words. Sakura's tears fell more forcefully as she began to let out heaving sobs. Naruto. She stammered, unable to release her words before Naruto interjected. Do you want to save your teammate, or not, Sakura? Yes, I do, she sadly responded. Good. Then what do you say we end this ridiculous sentiment and do this thing? He unexpectedly snapped. Sakura's face became more saddened at the thought of losing him. She couldn't take it. She wanted to stay. She whipped her head to the side as she tried deathly hard not to look at Naruto, her tears practically soaking the branch below her. Sakura, the voice of Sasuke called out. The pink-haired Kunoichi turned a surprised glance toward the Uchiha, who barely managed to lift himself into a kneeling position. Let's go, he said with a mask of empathy. He can take care of himself. At this point Sakura couldn't even speak. She was so distraught at the thought of losing Naruto that she merely bit her trembling lower lip. It was at this time that Gaara had finally composed himself just enough to spot his prey. RYYAAAAAAAAH. I'll KYOU, Naruto Uzumaki, he roared with malice. Ike, Naruto yelled, causing both of his teammates to flinch in surprise before he pointed in a seemingly random direction. You too, dog. Pakin's eyes widened after having been discovered by someone who didn't even see that he had left, but he leapt next to Naruto's other teammates. Even Sasuke was having trouble hiding his sadness. Sakura. We have to move, he exclaimed. Looking at her brave Kitsune one last time, Sakura let one last tear fall from her face before nodding in agreement. With that, Sakura, Pakin and Sasuke left Naruto to his decision. To his chosen fate. Miles from where the action was taking place, a smiling Nekoshi and the cross-armed Kitsune were standing at the foot of a mountain staring down at the source of clashing powers. Kitsune noticed two of the chakra pulses slowly dissipating. Nekoshi. I know. Now's our chance, he said with his smile widening. Seemingly out of pure reflex, Nekoshi spun around in a full circle, slicing a nearby tree in half. Reacting quickly, he leaped into the air and severed the tree's top, thus rendering it a mere log. Landing upon the ground, Nekoshi easily caught the sturdy piece of lumber with one finger and quickly hoisted it into the air before catching it, lugging it within the grip of his arm. All right. Nekoshi then began chopping one end of the severed tree with his bare hand, carving a mighty fine point. Right. Now we wait, he said. Gaara savagely charged at the battle-ready Naruto. Slobbering and roaring with bloodlust. He began wildly slashing and swinging at the blonde. Trying to at least behead the little Vare for the wrong that he did him. Naruto's heightened reflexes proved to be TTO great, however, as he easily but carefully avoided and dodged the multiple assaults, ducking, jumping, cartwheeling, spinning, swinging off of branches, using his new shadow clone maneuver, recall fight with Neji, the works. Naruto admitted that Gaara could be pretty vexing with his persistence, but compared to the shaggy-haired shinobi, he was too slow to land a blow. And it was pissing Gaara the F off. HHAAAAAAA. Hold still, you insect. I just wanna crush you, Gaara roared as he continued his unrelenting attack. Why don't you speed your heavy ass up and make me, slowpoke, Naruto mocked with seriousness on his face. The black-clad genin landed atop a tree, followed quickly by the half-demon on his tail, who swung another horizontal attack at him. Naruto timingly ducked and avoided the clean sweep before launching a swift upward kick to Gaara's chin, launching him into the air. Reacting quickly, Naruto formed a shadow clone that sprinted to the trunk of the tree they stood and proceeded to run along its length and jumped into the air above Gaara. Flipping once, the clone heel dropped Gaara's face, causing him to plummet back down to the real Naruto, who prepared to land a finishing strike. However, Gaara's eyes shot open before his arm manifested into a huge sand thorn aimed directly to Naruto's head. Freaking out like hell, the blue-eyed genin zipped out of sight before the thorn came crashing right through the branch. Gaara ceased his descent by lodging his deformed-looking claws into the trunk of the tree. Naruto landed upon another branch and glared daggers at his powerful opponent. Come on. Is that the best you can do against me, Gaara? Naruto taunted further. The beast roared so loud that many animals retreated far from the carnage. He began holding his throbbing head, and his desire to kill Naruto was starting to overboil. And the recently gained wounds that he received on his shoulder was not helping things. Shut p. I'll KU. I'll KYYYYOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOO imperative to leave that area with Gaara hot on his tail. That's right, big guy. Follow me, he thought. Sakura, Pakken and Sasuke were hurriedly tree-hopping along the ways trying to locate a safe place to take refuge. With Pakken leading the way like always, the other two were having their own thoughts on what had just happened. Sasuke was confused like all hell. He wondered how Naruto was able to do half of the things that he saw him do. It was truly incredible and somewhat maddening. No, but it was truly something. Also, he felt like for leaving him to fight on his own, despite the empathetic look on his face. Naruto was his friend after all. Sakura, on the other hand, well, she looked as if she wanted to jab a kunai knife into her own tea for leaving Naruto to fight back there. First she wanted to set things right and then she goes and leaves him. She didn't really feel like she was her normal size right now. She felt small, very, very small. The further she stayed from the battle point, the worse she felt. The shame was starting to become far more than she could bear and it showed. Suddenly, Pakken's nose started acting up. "The gon," he calmly exclaimed, "Oxymoron, I know." Sakura and Sasuke shot confused glances to the little brown dog. Naruto and that Gaara fellow. "They've moved to another location," he continued. What does that mean? What could they be doing? Sasuke questioned. "I don't know, but it looks like it was Naruto's doing. He's leading him away from us," he said in a somewhat downhearted fashion. At this, Sakura winced before her eyes darkened behind her hair. Sucking air into her teeth, she came to a complete stop, catching the attention of her other teammates. Sakura, what am I doing here? She said to herself more than her other teammates. Why am I here? Pakken and Sasuke looked at each other before looking back at the trembling Kunoichi. How could I leave him behind like he was a worthless pile of trash? She continually questioned herself. Sakura, we don't have time for this. We have to. No. Sasuke flinched back. All this time I've treated him like Since we became a team, I did nothing but ignore him and put him down like I actually compared to him. What am I doing here? I should be living up to my words and helping him. Sakura yelled through a fresh stream of tears. Sasuke's face finally dropped the empath and replaced with an expression of sadness. Sakura, he trailed. The jade-eyed female's tears became more fierce. I won't let him do this alone. We're a team and I can't believe how stupid I was. If I let him now I'd never forgive myself. I'm going to help my Naruto or he'll never know how much I. Without another word or any realization that she had just used Naruto's name in a possessive sense, Sakura shook out of her daze and dashed off into the opposite direction as fast as she could. Sakura. Oh, why do you hate me? God, wait up, Sasuke exclaimed before dashing off after her. Pakken was about to protest him going off to follow her, but he fell silent. Damn it, this sucks. If I go back without those two, Kakashi will have me, gulp, fixed, and he'll probably keep me awake through the process, he grimaced before hopping off to catch up with them. Nekoshi and Kitsune were at last ready to begin the game. Nekoshi smiled before aiming the pointed log at a seemingly random direction. You know, Nekoshi, now that I think of it, there is absolutely no way that your aim is as good as it used to be, Kitsune said with doubt. Her fellow shinobi smiled even more before reeling the log back to such an extent that his front foot lifted into the air and he hopped back several times on the other, as though to gain proper balance while holding the sly lumber. Okay, you'll never hit him. Oh, don't worry. I'm not aiming for him, Nekoshi stated before, chucking the wood with such precision and power that a massive sonic wave practically exploded outward, nearly destroying the sound barrier. The waves of power left a trail of destruction in its wake as the dangerously sharpened log pierced through the forest with slowly decreasing trajectory. God, I love it when you do like that. It makes me so damn hot, Kitsune cooed with her eyes widened at the display of prowess. He. I know. Naruto came crashing through a tree before somersaulting in midair and kicking his feet off of another tree, thus landing perfectly upon the ground, minus the slight dizzied stumble. Panting for breath, the slightly beaten blonde glared at the cackling Gaara, who was standing upon a tree returning the glare. Buva ha 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 ha. You. Are you ha. You're strong, Naruto Uzumaki. I must admit, you must have great strength to cause me this pain. Yes. Yes. King, you will truly bring me a value of existence I had only dreamed of, Gaara howled with crazed conviction. Naruto scoffed despite himself, damn it. If only I could find a weak point. So far, the only flaw I've seen is his speed, but even that's quickly becoming a nuisance because of his ability to memorize my movements, he calculated. Now, are you ready to continue? The half-demon yelled before reeling his massive arm back. Just one question, Gaara, Naruto interjected, causing the demon to stop. Why are you doing this? Why are you threatening the lives of my precious people? Precious people. You fool. Is that what you're fighting for? People who are close to you. The absurdity. Someone as strong as you shouldn't concern yourself with such petty attachments. Beings like you and I should fight for ourselves and love only ourselves. That is what true strength is, he declared. Naruto scowled at this logic as he was suddenly hit by a vague wave of shame for a reason that only he knew. Your so-called precious peoples. What do they mean to you? If they are the ones hindering your true strength, then I will kill them slowly, and I'll make you watch, Gaara roared, causing Naruto to growl with rage at hearing that threat. Sand Shuriken. Gaara's reeled arm shot forward, launching several sly sand shurikens at Naruto, who was successful in dodging almost all of them. Almost. Before the blonde nin had a chance to dodge the last two, his leg was hit directly, causing it to sweep off of the ground. With his balance lost, Naruto was unable to counter a direct hit to his chest area, sending him crashing through the tree that he stood in front of. After a short trip through the air, Naruto skidded to a halt, using his feet and hands. When he looked up, Gaara was already in front of him with a sickening smirk on his sickening face. After a brief standoff, Naruto disappeared once again, but Gaara's smirk widened as if he knew where he was running off to. The sand demon sped and tore the ground as he made a staggering jump to the trees. Landing upon a branch, Gaara immediately sound around and launched out extended his sly arm, timingly piercing Naruto right through his torso as he reappeared. With a twisted cackle, Gaara felt as though he had won, until Naruto vanished completely in a cloud of smoke. Gaara really didn't have the time to realize that he had fallen into a trap as the real Naruto silently plummeted down from the air with both of his hands packed together. With all of the strength that he could muster with the short amount of given time, he slammed his might upon Gaara's cranium, making him go temporarily cross-eyed. Even how it wasn't strong enough to send him plummeting into the ground through the branch, it was enough to make the sand genin's body go through a fit of convulsions. Naruto landed upon a nearby branch and turned to face the stunned Gaara. If you ever threaten my friends again, you'll pay, Dirl. He was suddenly cut off by a sudden rush. It was a rather familiar rush, but not something that he was used to. He sensed two things coming in that direction, and to be truthful, it made him extremely nervous. After only a short time, Naruto's senses caused him to snap his head to his left side only to see Sakura leaping toward him to render her aid. If that wasn't bad enough, then what happened next was a total nightmare. Without warning in the absolute slightest, a long sharp-end point log ribbed through the forest's vegetation from Sakura's left side, on a direct collision course with her body. With a large gasp, Naruto thought as though he would have a heart attack. Sakura ChaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaaHe howled at the very pinnacle of his lungs' prowess. To Naruto, the blood through his body and his head caused time to become painfully slow and his surroundings to frizz out into a flash of pure white. His immediate instinct was to fulfill his promise, and to protect his beloved from death. He didn't think, he couldn't think. He put his grand speed to work and rushed to Sakura. It all felt like a trick of the mind that held you firmly in the steam of time and slowed you down just so you could watch someone you love with all your horrible deaths. This didn't stop him though. Even how it seemed that he wouldn't make it in time, Naruto increased his speed to a level that he couldn't really comprehend in this moment of desperation. This had also caught Gaara's attention as he shifted his gaze to the source of the commotion after watching Naruto vanish. The last thing Sakura heard was her name being shouted, and the last thing she saw was Naruto vanish completely. Completely oblivious to the death log flying at her from her left side. Of course, in that instant, Sakura felt her body get shoved with strong yet surprisingly gentle force, completely throwing her off of her original course. Then she suffered the same physical feeling that Naruto did, the time lag. Her eyes slowly locked upon the tearing blonde who was shoving her out of the way of something that she didn't happen to notice. Once her balance was thrown off, Sakura's eyes widened at what she saw. Her eyes finally caught the sly pointed log that would have surely ended her life. Instead, her blue-eyed hero took her place, bracing for it head-on and looking as though he attempted to catch the point. After that, time finally broke its lag and returned to normal speed, and Naruto was viciously snatched out of sight by the hurtling death lumber whilst Sakura plummeted to the ground. The impact of her fall only rattled her senses for but a few seconds before realization hit her. Naruto, she yelled before shooting to her feet and sprinting as fast as her legs could carry her. She ran through the brush of the forest, occasionally scratching herself upon loose twigs and drawing blood from the small wounds. That, however, was unimportant to her. The only thing that mattered was following the trail that was left by the soaring log that carried her Naruto away. Please be okay, please be okay, please be okay, please be okay, she chanted over and over during her massive dash, Narutoo. After about a minute or so of running and screaming his name, Sakura had ran into a troublesome brush of dense vegetation. She frowned before pulling out a kunai to cut through the brush as quick as she could and was making some impressive head. Once she plowed through the vegetation, she immediately stopped in her tracks. Sakura had entered a vastly open area of the forest, one with river banks and beautiful trees surrounding the area. It was weird though, it was as though it were an arranged part of the forest, filled with lush beauty and a refreshing scent. Sakura, however, was completely oblivious to all of this. The only thing she saw, the one thing that her eyes were unlucky enough to look at, was Naruto pinned to a boulder, abdominally impaled. That will be all for this video. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, and comment down below for more videos. Goodbye.